morning, and welcome to Barbara's Bulletin. I'm your host, Barbara. Today, we're going to dive into a story that has been making headlines in Uganda, where the government is facing criticism for its use of military courts to try civilians. This is a complex issue with many different perspectives, and we'll do our best to break it down for you. The case at the center of this controversy involves opposition politician Kizza Besigye, who was tried in a military court despite being a civilian. The Ugandan Supreme Court has ruled that trying civilians in military courts is unconstitutional. But President Yoweri Museveni and his son, General Muhoozi Kainerugaba, have vowed to continue using these courts. According to human rights groups, over 1,000 civilians have been prosecuted in Uganda's military courts since 2002 for offenses such as murder and armed robbery. Many of these trials have been criticized for being unfair and violating international standards. We've spoken to experts who say that the use of military courts to try civilians is a tool used by the government to silence dissenting voices, particularly ahead of elections. The Ugandan government has argued that these courts are necessary to maintain order and stability in the country. However, opposition leaders and human rights groups argue that this is a clear abuse of power and a violation of human rights. They point out that the military courts often lack transparency and due process, and that civilians are not given the same protections as they would be in a civilian court. As we explore this story further, it's clear that there are many different perspectives at play. We'll continue to follow this story and bring you updates as more information becomes available. In the meantime, we want to hear from you. What do you think about the use of military courts to try civilians? Do you think it's a necessary measure to maintain order? Or is it an abuse of power? Share your thoughts with us on social media using the hashtag #Barbara'sBulletin. We'll be right back with more of today's top news on Barbara's Bulletin. Welcome back to Barbara's Bulletin. We're glad you're joining us again for this segment of our show. Today, we're taking a closer look at some developments in the Middle East, specifically in Israel and the United States' relationship with the region. Recently, Mike Huckabee, the newly confirmed U.S. ambassador to Israel, arrived in the country and made a visit to the Western Wall in Jerusalem, one of Judaism's holiest sites. During his visit, he inserted a prayer written by President Trump into the wall, which read for peace in Israel and was signed with the initials DT. This gesture has sparked interest and discussion about the current state of U.S.-Israel relations and the ongoing conflict in the region. Ambassador Huckabee is known for his strong support of Israel, and his appointment as ambassador has been seen by some as a significant development in the U.S.'s stance on the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. It's worth noting that the situation in Gaza remains a pressing concern, with Hamas and Israel engaged in an ongoing war that has resulted in significant humanitarian suffering. The latest proposal for a ceasefire deal was rejected by Hamas, which is seeking a comprehensive agreement that includes the release of Palestinian prisoners, a withdrawal of Israeli forces from Gaza, and reconstruction efforts in the territory. As we consider these complex issues, it's essential to approach them with nuance and understanding, recognizing the deeply held convictions and concerns of all parties involved. We'll continue to follow developments in this story and provide updates as more information becomes available. In the meantime, we want to hear from you. What are your thoughts on the current state of U.S.-Israel relations and the conflict in the Middle East? Share your perspectives with us on social media using the hashtag #Barbara'sBulletin. Stay tuned for our final story of the day, right here on Barbara's Bulletin. Welcome back to Barbara's Bulletin. I'm your host, Barbara. As we wrap up today's show, I want to bring attention to a developing story that's been unfolding in Darfur, Sudan. Reports have emerged of a catastrophic situation at the Zamzam refugee camp, where the Rapid Support Forces, or RSF, have claimed control. According to eyewitness accounts and reports from humanitarian organizations, the situation on the ground is dire. Thousands of people have fled the camp, seeking safety and shelter in nearby cities, while many others remain trapped, facing extreme hardship and violence. The United Nations has expressed deep concern over the situation, warning of a potential humanitarian disaster. The organization has reported that fires have destroyed large areas of the camp, leaving many without access to basic necessities like food, water, and medical care. I want to emphasize that the situation in Darfur is complex and multifaceted, with various factions and interests at play. It's essential to approach this story with nuance and balance, avoiding simplistic or sensationalized narratives. The RSF has been accused of human rights abuses, including killings, rapes, and forced displacement of civilians. However, it's also important to acknowledge that the conflict in Darfur is rooted in deeper historical and political issues, including ethnic and tribal tensions, resource competition, and power struggles. As the international community responds to this crisis, it's crucial to prioritize the protection of civilians, ensure access to humanitarian aid, and support efforts to resolve the underlying conflicts through diplomacy and dialogue. I want to acknowledge the bravery and resilience of the people of Darfur, who have faced unimaginable hardship and trauma over the years. Their stories deserve to be told, and their voices need to be heard. That's all for today's Barbara's Bulletin. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. And until next time, stay engaged.